People are driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. The hiring process can be slow and overwhelming. Simplify hiring with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform. With over 350 million global monthly visitors according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. That's Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Terms and conditions apply.
Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. And now, for your host, Kimberly McElmore.
All right. Hello. Welcome to another night of sharing. With us, we have Terryl Ebony, a.k.a. the producer and CEO of Find Your Purpose. Terryl is a productivity strategist, faith-based speaker, correspondent, an author, a mompreneur, and community advocate. As the CEO of Find Your Purpose, Terryl empowers women in national platforms, in groups, and through one-on-one coaching and consulting. Well. Welcome, Terryl. How are you doing this evening?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me. Looking forward to the conversation today.
Well, I'm excited because it seems like we have a whole lot to talk about tonight. So I was like, look, I did my homework. I was running it down and reviewing. I was like, wow, we got a lot to talk in a short period of time. But I am really excited about the opportunity of having you on. And I thank you for being flexible with me. I know that, we've been kind of trying to get this thing going for a little while. And before we get started, though, I would really love for you to just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and what you've been up to.
Sure. Again, I'm Terryl Ebony, life and business productivity strategist, speaker, author, community advocate, commentator. I am the CEO of Find Your Purpose, where I help new and aspiring faith-based entrepreneurs find, embrace, and live in their purpose. I do this using effective time management, organization systems, and the Word of God. I have been an entrepreneur for over 20 years. Before I took on the role of a life and business strategist, I had a nonprofit called the Misunderstood Youth Development Center, where I helped over 100 young men stay out of the New York City prison pipeline. And we gave them a lot of life skills and things of that nature. So that's something that I'm really, some work that I'm really proud of. I also worked with their parents. So I did quite a bit of parent development coaching. And I also ran for New York State Assembly in 2015. So I'm a big community advocate as well. So I've been up to a little bit of something.
Yeah, I would say so. Just a tad bit, we don't want you to overwork it all.
Something.
Okay, so you ran down a ton of information, but what I want you to do is just kind of take us a little bit step back even further, and let's talk about where you're from and, how you really got into doing what you're doing and what inspired you to do a lot of these businesses and the different platforms, and then we'll kind of jump into later on about, we'll pick a few things from the different platforms that you have, and we'll talk about that. So tell me about that.
So this is good stuff. So I was born in Washington, D.C., raised in Brooklyn, New York, moved to Queens, New York, when I was 25. And then just in May of this year, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. So now I'm officially a Georgia peach. I'm so excited.
still got that accent. Okay, you're not gonna lose
Yes,
that New York
I'm
accent.
not gonna lose that New York accent anytime soon. I literally just moved here, and even though I moved here in May, I just spent an entire month in New York. The month of July, I was in New York, so I'm a native New Yorker. And with all of that, my heritage is from Georgetown, Guyana. So I have a little bit of this and a little bit of that inside of me as far as where I'm from. I have an adult 23-year-old young child. When I tell people that, they're like, you have a 23-year-old? I said, yes, 23 years ago, my life changed. And it changed so much, and I always have to go back to it because it became my why. It became the why I do everything that I've done thus far. Why entrepreneurship became so important to me. Because one, I had no idea I was going to have children because I was always that teenager who was like, I don't want no kids, them brats. I was that teenager. I don't want somebody like me. Like, you want another one of me running around? What's wrong with y'all? So, well, of course, when you say stuff like that, God hears you and was like, I got something for you, girl.
Exactly.
And he sure did. Okay, he sure did. And Devon blessed my life on Veterans Day of 1994. And it has been an interesting ride ever since. But because I had him and how I grew up, my mom worked, I was raised by a single mom, and my mom worked 2 jobs all the time. That's all she knew how to do. I mean, up until I was a teenager, even as an adult, my mom worked 2 jobs. Even right now, she's working 1 job, but she works so much overtime, you would think that it's 2 jobs. And I knew that she missed out on so much of my life. I missed out on so much of her life. And there was a lot of things that didn't connect because of that. So I tell people I raised myself. I was kind of like that latchkey kid. It was, the only difference is I didn't grow up in foster care or anything like that. But I didn't have certain elements that I really needed. I had a roof over my head. I had food. I had clothes on my back. My mom made sure she did all of that, but which is why she had to work the 2 jobs. So when my son came along, I was like, I don't want that life for him. And I realized, again, generational curse. I had raised him as a single parent. And when the teachers called, when the doctor's appointments came, when anything happened, I knew I wanted to be there with my son. And I knew that I didn't want anybody else to have to, I didn't want to have to call other people to come and pick him up from school and do little things like that. And I found that happening. I was like, oh no, this is not going to work for me. This is not going to work for me. And then I also saw changes in his behavior. Praise God, thank you, Jesus, that I was a good girl. Wink, wink. that my mother didn't really have to, and that's the truth. My mother really didn't have to come up to the school very often for me. Really didn't have to come up to the school at all. Like I did my little, did my little dirt thing, but I did it to the point where I wasn't getting caught. I did it to the point where she didn't have to know about all of it. So when I got older and I started telling her, she was like, what?
Well, see, that's what happens when you're not around. You can get away with
it. Let me tell you. But, my son, he's a boy. So, boys are, somewhat different from girls. So I saw that he was starting to get into trouble and stuff like that. So I wanted to be the one to come up and bring my village with me. I didn't want to send my village on my behalf. I wanted to bring the village with me. And I said, after a while of getting fired from jobs, quitting jobs, making excuses to the job as to why I could not be there, I said, no, I have to find a way to have flexible time and make money. We got to work this out. So entrepreneurship came real fast. After I had him, after he turned, I would say like about 5 or 6, entrepreneurship became really, became something. Now, something important to know is that my birthday is on December 29th. So all my life, I never worked on my birthday, never went to school on my birthday. My birthday became a vacation day for me. And my son was born on Veterans Day, November 11th.
Mm-hmm.
So he never goes to school on his birthday.
Right.
One year he was 7 and I was at a job, somebody's 9 to 5. And they did not want to give me the day off to spend with my son.
Mm-hmm.
That was the moment I said goodbye. Because I did go to the job. I cried, but I went because I'm like, I got to put food on the table.
Right.
But and at that time, AIM was the big thing. He's aiming me. I'm aiming him. He crying at home. I'm crying at the desk. I said, no, this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I decided at that point that I was going to I was going to start becoming my own boss. Right. And I was going to figure out a way to make money. I was going to figure out a way that I can have the flexibility in my time that I needed to be with my son. Mm-hmm. So that's where the journey began, to be honest with you, right there. And I did, I had a few failed attempts.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Right. A few failed attempts. And girl, I done did every MLM you can think of in those failed attempts. Every single one. They was like, oh, why don't you try this? They saw sucker written all over my forehead. Come give me that.
People are driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. The hiring process can be slow and overwhelming. Simplify hiring with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform. With over 350 million global monthly visitors according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. That's Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Terms and conditions apply.
An O'Reilly Auto Parts gift card is the perfect gift for that hard-to-buy-for person. Give the gift of convenience from O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Give me those dollars, and then I'll never see you again.
Right. Yeah, those are not meant for everybody. But
look, I tried them all.
I hear you. So, it's funny. I'm sitting here listening to your story, and I just love the similarities that we have. I'm a single parent, and my son is 30. And, I kind of went through that same process of, not wanting to be away from my child, all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, though, how for you, like I said, a birthday was what really did it for you. The thing that did it for me, that and it was probably around the same time. My son was probably about 5 or 6, and I hated him being in the daycare centers he was in. And one incident happened, and it just drove me over the edge. And from that point on, I was like, my son will never go to another daycare center in his life.
I know that's right.
And from that point, I had actually went ahead and opened up 2 licensed child care centers of my own so that I can make sure that my son was being taken care of during those pre-school years before he actually was in the school. And, and so I'm listening to your story, and I love the attitude that you have about how important it is to be with your child. And I think, like you said, that generational curse that consistently goes on is that, we're always being told as we're being raised that, you got to get education, you got to get a job. You got to get an education, you got to get a job. It's very rare do you hear people say, you got to get your education, then you go out here and then you do for yourself. So it's always pleasant, even though it was I think for all of us as single parents, it's always a longer and harder process. But at the same token, to be able to step out on faith and do what you did and say, you know what, I'm no longer going to miss another day of being with my son, not being able to be with my son on the days that are most important to me, for him as well. So, listening to your story, I'm sure, obviously you're not the only person in the world who's done this, but it's the attitude behind it that I love. Your attitude of wanting to just get out there and just do you, I think is what is obviously is what's got you where you're at today. And you're using that same strength into the businesses that you have also as well. And obviously your mother, she did a phenomenal job being able to continue giving you the things that you need. But like you said, there's always those pieces that are missing in life. And I think it's amazing how we become adults and realize that once we bring children into our world, that this is how we want to do it differently. So I applaud you on that. So talk to me though a little bit about the first business that you have. I know you talked about the MLMs, but once you got past that, what was the first big real business that made you realize what you had and the power that you had about being an entrepreneur?
So the first real entrepreneurship moment, I said, well, what can I do to make some money? And at the time I was an director of operations, but the big thing in being a director of operations, I handled a lot of the finances. So I did bookkeeping. So I did I did bookkeeping consulting. I went around New York, and what I did was I applied like if I was sending in a resume, but instead of sending in my resume, I would send in my portfolio of this is how I can change your company, and this is how I can save you money. I can come in and do your books for you. I can do your payroll for you, and you won't have to pay me employee taxes. You won't have to pay me employee health insurance. So I was trying to show them the benefit of hiring me as a consultant, and I also let them know, but I won't be here every day. Like, let's understand what the parameters would be. Right. And it worked. It really worked. Let me tell you, when I got that first client, I was like, I did that. Did I just do that? Right. Did that just happen? It was like, oh my goodness. So, when you get your first job, you're so excited. That first real big job, not the first McDonald's job, but that first real job. You're so excited. So when I got this opportunity, I was like, somebody's actually paying me as an entrepreneur now. I was so excited, and, I did the best work that I could, but it was still a hard sell. And at that time, honestly, I knew nothing about marketing. I knew nothing really about business. I just knew I didn't want to work for somebody. So I was learning so much on the fly. And it was some expensive lessons. I tell people that all the time. There's a lot of times where, people make it seem like it's so easy and it's 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, it's not 1, 2, 3. There's going to be some bumps in the road, and some of those bumps are going to cost you financially. So be prepared. Be prepared. Not every decision that I made was the right decision. Not every client was the right client. There were some people I was like, what was I thinking about, trying to go into business with these people? They're the clients from hell. Right. I want to give them back. Return to sender. Take your money back too. Look, I don't need the aggravation. Exactly. So all of those things I try to tell people, not all money is good money. Some money you just need to just leave it right where it's at. Leave it right where it's at, because it's not worth the aggravation in the long run. Yes, it's helpful to pay the bills, but you also have to set certain standards for yourself. And you also can't, you don't want to bring your value down so much to basically nothing. If that's the case, go back and work the 9 to 5, So there was a lot of learning lessons there. But from that situation, again, back to my son, I saw that he really started acting out. He didn't really express himself properly. And, the teachers in school wanted to label him. And I'm like, you're not labeling my kid. I know something wrong with you. There ain't nothing wrong with him. I'm like, oh no. And I'm that fair parent though. So I was able to assess. Now you got those parents that something really is wrong with their kid, and they like, no, ain't nothing wrong with him. He just banged his head on the wall for good measure.
Right, exactly.
So I'm not that parent. So I knew something was wrong, and I went to try to get him counseling because I knew that he was missing his dad. I already knew what the issue was, but none of the teachers took the time out to find out what the issues were. One day, a teacher called, not even a teacher, the assistant principal called me and was like, Miss Wilson, and I knew it had to be for my son because I'm not Wilson. That's my son's last name. So I was like, oh, Lord, what he did. What he done did. And she says, can I just ask you a question? I said, sure, absolutely. She said, what's your son's name? I said, but you calling me. You don't know his name.
Right.
She said, humor me for a minute. What's his name? I said, his name is Devon. She said, so why did he just tell me his name is Alvin? I said, oh. And I said it just like that. Oh. I said, that's because that's his father's name.
Wow.
And then she said, oh.
Right.
And
That
she
moment.
finally, all the dots connected for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, it's a cry out for help. And I get it. I tried doing the counseling, but there was no counselors in the neighborhood that would take my insurance and that really dealt with his issues. He didn't have a drug issue. He didn't have a IEP issue. He didn't have, like all the other issues that the insurances will take you under. He didn't have any of those issues. He had abandonment issues.
Right, exactly. And
there was no place for him to go.
Right, that doesn't have a cure with a pill, like you said.
Exactly. So I created the Misunderstood Youth Development Center off of that.
Okay.
Right? And that really started the journey that you're trying to get to with me. Mm-hmm. My story has a point.
Right. But it makes sense. But the other thing I wanted to point out that I like when you were talking about in the portion of the story where you were saying that, I had to, sell myself and make people realize that what my capabilities were. And, even though we have 9-to-5 jobs, when you send in that resume or when you're talking to somebody, you're proving to them that, hey, I can do the job. That's why you need to hire me. So what you did, and even though you may not have the full-fledged experience of what it means to be in business, you had that basic, very understanding that we go through every day when we're working, for somebody else, that, hey, if you don't come in there and present yourself properly, why would I want you to come work for me? So what you did, it made you realize that you could do this for yourself. And the thing that I really loved about the conversation was that you said, look, you don't have to pay me for insurance. You don't have to give me this or that. And that's the thing.
That was my marketing strategy, girl. That's as much as I knew at the time.
but it's no different than what we do today as consultants.
Absolutely.
And of course the other name for that is a 1099. It's no different. You are still selling yourself as an individual who can do whatever this expertise that you have in, that you're putting out there for those people who may be looking for a specific, expertise. So the thing the way you started out to me was in a good way. And like you said, obviously we all make mistakes, all, coming up and down the path of being.
People are driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. The hiring process can be slow and overwhelming. Simplify hiring with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform. With over 350 million global monthly visitors according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. That's Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
And a business owner and being an entrepreneur, but the way you started and then like I said, you connected all the dots that had to come around. This is the issue of my son, and this is what I need to do to make sure that we can get out of that issue with him and continue to have a healthy relationship as a family and as a mother and a son. And so and then you move forward doing other things. So talk to me a little bit about, we're going to kind of fast forward because time is moving quickly here, but I want to fast forward and talk about the current business and how you strategize with some of your clientele. Now, I'm sure that with your great personality and with all the things that you've learned throughout the years of doing what you're doing, being an entrepreneur, that you obviously use your experience as a way to help others. But talk a little bit about how you strategize with your new clientele.
So every client is different. So it's really a matter of, the first thing that I love to do is get to know the client. Mm-hmm. Some coaches, consultants, they jump right on in, right? For me, I need to get to know my client. I need to get to know a little bit more about the person that I'm working with. And again, from past experience, I don't want to be working with the client from hell. So I need to know a little bit about you as a person, as an individual. I want to know about your family life. I want to know about your past businesses. I want to know what you currently have going on, where you were with it, where you are with it, and where you want to be with it. Mm-hmm. So that's my first kind of assessment that I do with my clients. And that's so important, because if you don't know what they've been through in the past, you don't know what may be hindering them today and what will continue to hinder them tomorrow, unless you can fix it. Unless we can get deep down and dirty with it, we are aware of what's going on. We can address what's going on so we can move on from what's going on. Right. I tell people my job is to help you to produce the results that you say you want. I'm the producer. So regardless of whatever it is, that you say you want to do, I'm going to help you get there, as long as you're willing to take the necessary actionable steps to do so. And sometimes it has nothing to do with business. To be honest with you, most times it has nothing to do with business. It's all life. And that's why I don't leave out the life and business productivity strategist. That life part is so important, because if your life jacked up, your business going to be jacked up. Exactly. If your life is in shambles, whether past or present, that means that you don't have the mindset that I need you to have to be as productive in your business as you can be, which ultimately says that you can't produce the results you want to produce, or it's going to take you that much longer to get there. So we have to go backwards, and I'm always dealing with my client's mindset constantly. So why you didn't get that done? Right. Exactly. What happened? What's the excuse? And they know, don't give me no excuse. So what had happened was right. Yeah. So we deal with I deal with all of those things. I say, okay, so let's talk about that. I have too much going on. I didn't get a chance to get to it. So let's talk about that. How I get it, right? Can't cry over spilt milk. Now, what are we going to do? What steps, what procedures, what systems are we going to put in place so that doesn't happen again? Because I heard the excuse once. I don't want to hear it again. Mm-hmm. So what strategies are we going to do? What systems are we going to put in place so that this way you create the time that you need, or you make the best of the little time that you do have? So what are you willing to sacrifice? You might have to sacrifice some TV time. You might have to sacrifice some talk time on the phone. You might have to sacrifice some social media. You might have to sacrifice your going out time. You might even have to sacrifice some time with your children. You might have to sacrifice some time with some time with your loved ones. And it might just be a little bit. And it's okay. Have the conversation with them. Exactly. Have the conversation with them. Let them know what's going on. Get them involved. And depending on what it is, I have a client that I recently said this to. She had an event coming up. She has two small kids and she has a husband. She had a book signing coming up, and I heard the little ones running around, and she had so much to do. She's team I right now, right? Mm-hmm. And I said to her, you ain't never team I. Never. Not when you got two kids running around your house. Oh, no, you not. I said, go get them and they can do the goodie bags. Right. Y'all have a good old family time doing those goodie bags. They loved it. I said, it's a family time. Let's help mommy get these bags ready. Y'all don't want mommy to have a good book signing? Come on. I said, girl, you got to know how to talk to your kids.
Right.
That's productive.
Right.
I said, so now they're doing it and you don't have to do it.
Right, and then they're a part of something that it's
they're
meaningful.
A part of it,
right?
Yes.
And that's
they
the key.
feel like they help mommy. They help the book signing. They help mommy. It was amazing. She says, "Oh my goodness, Terryl, thank you so much for that suggestion because now they're running around with the book in their hand, talking about this is my mommy book. You want a copy?" I'm selling books. I said, that's right. They could sell books just like they sell cookies.
and that is the truth. But like you said, it's that involvement. And I like how you talk about, really truly assessing and getting to know your clientele. It's not always a black and gray, situation, or, it's not always perfect. So you need to really understand who you're working with before you can move forward with them. And the biggest thing that I heard you say that I agree with 100% is that mindset. If you don't have the right mindset, it does not matter how many things that you say to that person. If that mindset isn't right, they're never going to be able to truly move forward in the direction that they need to move. They will always be stagnant. So, I like how you do business with people and you're really trying to analyze the situation. But at the same time, you're also trying to make people realize it can be done. But if you got all these excuses, what do you really want to do?
Yeah, it's not going to happen. I had to actually terminate a relationship with a client because of that. So when you give me way too many excuses, I could continue to take your money. She was paying on time. She was a lovely client. I love her as a human being, but she wasn't doing the work. Right. So I told her, I said, I'm a woman of integrity. And I tell all my clients this in the beginning. So they already know this is how I work. When we have that how I work contract, so you know what to expect from me. If you're not going to do the work, we can't work together. This is not, I can't have a conversation with myself. It's not a monologue. It's a dialogue. So I can't coach you by myself. Coaching means that you have someone to coach. Right? So if I'm giving you work, I'm giving you drills, I'm giving you assignments, I'm giving you, things to do, and you're coming back and it's not done, I said, that's an issue. And for me, I don't want you going around saying, oh, I have a coach, I'm in business, and I have a coach, she is wonderful. And they say, well, what's her name? Coach Terryl Ebony. And then you turn around and say, well, what you doing in your business? Nothing.
Right, but like I said, but they're only telling, and 90% of the time they're only telling part of the story. And like I said, the key is that they have to do work. 'Cause I always have those same type of clients where, well, you write the business plan or where you didn't? No. How am I going to see your vision? I can't tell you what your vision is. I can help you get to that. But I can't be who you are. I will write to what I feel because that's how I'm going to think. And that's the same thing that you're basically, when you're working with your clientele, that you're telling the same thing and you did the right thing. And I think that's the hardest part about being in business is having to let go of somebody that who has the potential, but at the same time won't take the proper steps they need to have to move forward.
And I just said to her, I said, you know what? I don't think now is the right time. So, it was no hard feelings. And I had given her warnings. I told her it was coming. I gave her opportunities to change. I was like, she was like, you gonna fire me? She said, you gonna fire me? Because again, she's a very lovely individual. I love her to death. I said, yes, I will. As much as I love you, I sure will. I said, because one, I can't in good conscience keep taking your money. Two, it's obvious that you're not ready right now. And that's okay. I'm still here. Right. So a year from now, 2 years from now, whenever you get ready, if you get ready, I'll be here. Exactly. But right now, it's just not the right time.
Yeah, and I do believe timing is everything. Yeah, that timing is absolutely everything. And, when it goes with the mindset, it goes with all the other pieces, when you decide that you want to step out there and decide that hey, I want to be a business owner or I want to be an entrepreneur, it takes work and it does take time. And, I'm sure you see this every day and I hear it every day is people think that everything happens overnight. That's not the world we live in, no matter how good it looks on the outside right now.
Want me to give you a funny joke? Let me give you a quick joke as to what happened with that client. She ended up getting me 2 clients. Wow. And how that happened was because she went on Facebook and my coach fired me. She said, my coach fired me. Can y'all believe that? She don't play. And she really said it. She was like, y'all, she fired me. And she outed herself.
People are driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. The hiring process can be slow and overwhelming. Simplify hiring with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform. With over 350 million global monthly visitors according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. That's Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Terms and conditions apply.
Oh, she was like, if y'all are serious about your business and y'all really want to produce some results, she's going to push you. Y'all need to go hire her because she fired me. And two people really did call me because they said they are ready and I said, well, I need you on my marketing team, honey.
Exactly. I was just figuring that. So you need to put her in an ad commercial or something because that is
funny.
That is the best medicine you can get. A person like, look, this is the reality of what it takes. But, and even though we're laughing about it, but this is, it's important that people understand, that being an entrepreneur, it's going to take work. And it doesn't mean just because you have one successful moment that you can give up. You have to consistently have that same mindset every single day. You got to get up and it's, to be honest, it's no different than having a job because the difference is that people are depending on you. Whether it's your family members, whether it's your employees, if you have, and just depending on yourself. Because every day that you don't get up and produce something, you are not going to be able to take care of your responsibilities. It's just that.
Say that again.
Every day that you don't get up and produce something, you won't be able to take care of your responsibilities. So, when people, I hear that, I want to go into business, I want to go do this, and I'm just going to quit my job. Okay, well, have you thought about what it is that you are doing before you decide to quit that job? Having streams of revenue, extra streams of revenue is a good thing. And especially when you're trying to start out new, that you need to really truly understand where you're coming from. And, even though your strategies are very different than mine or probably many other people, I always tell people, you got to sit down and plan. If you don't have any plans, you're just running around in circles. So what are you really trying to convey, when you want to say you want to do a business? So I love your spirit and your attitude about how you handle things. And the thing that I love about you the most is that you're real and you're raw. You say what you have to say, but you get to the point and, you don't have to sugarcoat it and make people feel like, well, if I say it this way, and I'm kind of like the same way. I have one of my friends and my partner and a client, and he's like, always calls me the pit bull. I'm like,
yes,
why
I'm the unapologetic truth teller. I'm the unapologetic truth teller. That's what I'm known as, the unapologetic truth teller. I say yes, I say what I say, I mean what I say, it is what I
said. Exactly. Because, sugarcoating it is good to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, the real world's out there waiting for you. And so, when you decide to take these steps to want to be in business, they're not going to be kind. They're not, they may think that we're hard, but we're the nice people. But when you get out here and you're trying to do business and you mess up, and today people are all about making that extra money on the side per se. They want to see you in a heartbeat. So
absolutely. And I would just, I just want to add real quick because I know the time is running out that it's important to understand, because sometimes I tell my story and I never want to give the misconception that I never had to go back, because there were times where I'm like, okay, 2 and 2 is 4, but the bill is 10. So where am I get the other 6 from?
Right.
So there's been times where I've had to go and still get like a part-time job to fund my dream. I never let go of the vision. Never let go of your vision. And I tell people that all the time. If you want to, don't necessarily haphazardly just leave. Some people have it that they can do that.
Right.
And if you have a great support system, which I did, so it was a little easier for me. But if you don't have that, plan it out. Plan it out. You know, have a strategy, get your ducks in a row, save some money. You're going to need it. If you don't know marketing, if you don't know business, hire a coach. Or, you know, you can even start off with doing some of the do-it-yourself programs. That's fine and good. But if you're anything like me, you need that. You need somebody to push you. You need that accountability. You need that support. You need a live person that you could speak to say, what's this? What you talking about, Willis? I need that. You know, that you need that sometimes. So
Right.
I'm saying put yourself in a position where you start off right. Put yourself in a position to be great from the beginning. I didn't have that. So God blessed me with the job and the responsibility now to come out and teach you guys how to do this thing and do it right so that you don't have to make some of the mistakes that I made. You're going to make your own mistakes, but you don't necessarily have to make those mistakes. So you just plan it properly, put things in order, hire people that can help you get to your next best level. Can I say your next best level? Not your friends, not your entrepreneur buddies' best level, not the people that you've been watching on social media's best level, not the celebrity person that you've been following's best level, your next best level. So your next best level might just be a simple plan. It may not actually be the business. It just might be the plan. Your next best level might be putting the pen to paper to start writing the book, but not necessarily publishing it today. Whatever your next best level is, hire the person that's going to help you get there.
Amen to that one. And there you go. Look, I don't even have to ask you anything else. I was like, you just ran down the last 3 or 4 questions I was going to ask you. And I was like, that was awesome. I mean, you just hit it perfectly. You know, that people need to realize that stop dreaming and living other people's dreams. Live your own dreams. Stop pretending you are somebody else and do your own thing, because that's what it's really all about. You know, and like I said, when we talked a little bit earlier, before we actually, you know, started the actual interview, we talked about the fact that there are so many people who are just, you know, they're out here trying to do things, but they're not really doing it properly. But at the same token, they're not really willing to put in the work. And then here you are, you're telling them the same things over and over and over again to get people to realize that living your dreams are more important than living in somebody else's dreams. You know, And that's really what it's about. When you're an employee, you're actually living another person's dreams. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's understanding that, is this really where you want to be? Do you need to be on this side of the tape, or do you need to be on the other side, so to speak? So, you know, I love, like I said, your energy is phenomenal, and you are a great coach. And then the other thing real quick I want to say is that I know that you're an author, so we're definitely going to have to talk about you coming on my other show, and we'll talk about your books then. We're not going to talk about them tonight, so keep that in mind, that I'm going to have you come back and chat with me some more, because you and I can chat for all night long. But
girl, we go on for hours.
Exactly, but I'm sure the listeners are probably saying, okay, ladies, we got
Let's wrap this up now. Wrap this up.
Yes, so we are going to wrap it up. But before we wrap it up, though, I would like for you to tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Absolutely. So just again, thank you so much for having me on your show. It has been great. I love that God is using you to expand everyone's platform, and you are doing it so diligently. So God bless you for that. Everyone can find me. I'm Terryl Ebony everywhere. Terryl Ebony on all social media sites. I try to make stuff simple. And you can also visit my website at www.terrylebony.com. It's so easy. terrylebony.com. I'm Terryl Ebony everywhere. And it's so, I just want to say that when you are in search for a coach or anybody or anything, Do your research. So research me. I ask you, I implore you, research me, find out who I am, find out the works that I've done, look at my testimonies, look at my Facebook page, scroll through my line, see what I'm about, see if I resonate with you before you set up the call. Don't just set up the call just to set up the call. Do your homework first, because I'm gonna do my homework on you.
Hey, there you go. All righty then. Oh, Terryl, it's been a phenomenal evening. Spend some time with you, and I appreciate you. I know you're very busy, but I absolutely appreciate you coming on tonight and sharing your story. And for everyone else, I want you to enjoy the rest of your evening, but also remember we're here every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. You can follow us on Spreaker. You can follow us on iHeartRadio. And now we are on Spotify. But until next time, you all have a wonderful evening.
Good night, everyone. We will be back next Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Follow us on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. View our new WSBI website anytime at www.wsbillc.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.
People are driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. The hiring process can be slow and overwhelming. Simplify hiring with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform. With over 350 million global monthly visitors according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. That's Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Terms and conditions apply.